Hello again with another special video. As you could tell by the title, it's about apparently the internet's or one of YouTube's new grifters and new phonies and new fakes, one Cheyenne Bryant, who bills herself Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, or should I say Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, the reason why I'm here, and again, as I mentioned previously, I don't really do special videos anymore on this. I did a few special videos last year, and I normally wouldn't. But the video that I did called the PhD Fantasy of Cheyenne Bryant got over 100 views, I think, in about 3 hours on this channel, which is very good for this channel because I only have over 200 subscribers. So I don't get a lot of views on this channel, but that got over 100 views. So it's done pretty well. So when something does very well, it's a special video. And also because there's obviously more to point out about the clearly phony and fake Cheyenne Bryant, or should I call her Ms. Cheyenne Bryant, though she bills herself Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, again, this is another one. Hopefully this will be the last one because I don't do special videos anymore on this channel. So I don't want to be doing video after video about this. But because I had never heard of this person previously and came across this, I thought it was an interesting case. And because, of course, I have written about one Dr. Umar Johnson, who from all indications actually is a doctor. I mean, his dissertation is utter crap, or to put it in another term, shite. But he is a doctor, supposedly with a PhD from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. As for this Cheyenne Bryant, she claims to have a PhD in, I think it's counseling psychology from an Argosy University. Here's the problem. People have pointed out, which is part of why this has become, why she is so controversial and why she is considered, well, not considered, she is a fake and a phony. The reason why that she's gotten into so much trouble online is because she has decided not to prove that she has a PhD. People watching, or people who will watch this, both actually, when you go to a doctor's office, what do they usually have on the wall? Simply paintings? Not just paintings, not just nice things. They have degrees. Normally a doctor, and I've seen people who aren't doctors have degrees on their walls. Why? Because when you are a person who is in a profession, in a licensed vocation especially, you need to assure the public at large and basically prove to the public at large that you are qualified and licensed and trained and educated to carry out the tasks and the operations upon which your profession entails. So you have to prove you're in that profession. It doesn't go away, right? That's why it's easier for doctors to go and put this on walls, right? But when people ask whether this Cheyenne Bryant is a doctor, and she gives an interview in a Fox affiliate and states that She doesn't have to prove anything. That's not a professional attitude. That's not what professionals say, and that's not what professionals do. Professionals go, this is my diploma, and this is my degree. And if they ask, you tell them. This is not only true of doctors or lawyers or other licensed professionals. It's also true of people who are professionals, but don't necessarily need a license. Now, if you saw the interview that this Cheyenne Bryant had on this Fox affiliate with the reporter, what did the reporter say at the end? I have 2 degrees, and listed the schools that she went to for those degrees, which were Northwestern and Emory universities. Notice that Cheyenne Bryant didn't do that. Distinction, right? Truth and fiction. Or in this case, fact and fiction. Because basically what Cheyenne Bryant is, or should I say Ms. Bryant, she will call herself doctor. And let's look at that term, doctor. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Cheyenne Bryant registered a trademark of Dr. Bryant. She won't show you her dissertation, which should be available by some academic publisher or should be available online in some way. And she won't show you her PhD degree. And in the last video that I did, the first video, I showed my actual bachelor's degree, right? Because this is the school I went to, right? And as you can tell, this is a program for the graduation, right? If you want to see the degree, check out my other video, the PhD, I think it's the PhD Fantasy of Cheyenne Bryant. This, of course, lists my name right up here. So she didn't show anything like that, didn't show her degree, but she did register the phrase Dr. Bryant. Supposedly was registered in 2018. So, why would somebody with a PhD need to register doctor? Now, the name of this channel, for example, is Writer Albert Lanier, because I've been a writer for over 31 years. But I didn't trademark the term Writer Albert or Writer Albert Lanier. It wasn't patented. It's not trademarked. It's not copyrighted with the federal government. I am a writer. And people can find out and check the fact that I'm a writer. So I don't need to trademark the name writer along with my name. But the question is, why does a supposed PhD like Cheyenne Bryant need to trademark Dr. Bryant? If she has a PhD, wouldn't it suffice that she is a doctor? She would already have the title. Medical doctors don't need to trademark the term doctor next to their name or MD next to their name. Lawyers don't need to trademark Esquire, to my knowledge. So why does a supposed PhD like Cheyenne Bryant need to trademark Or why did she trademark the term Dr. Bryant several years ago in 2018? It's because she's not a doctor and she doesn't have a PhD. That's really why. And if you saw my other video, it's very clear that she's not a doctor, doesn't have a PhD. It's pretty clear. But besides that point, let's look at a couple of other aspects. In an interview she did on a show called The Breakfast Club, she was talking about addressing the issue in regards to her PhD, right? Now, she was talking about the school that she got the PhD from, which is one Argosy University. She stated that, this is her words now in the interview, you can go and check the interview out. She stated, quote, "There was no school," and, quote, "the school is shut down." That's important to consider, very important to consider, right? She then noted that she had contacted financial aid, and they told her that they could give her a refund, but if she got the refund, she would not get credit for any of the classes or anything she took at Argosy University. But here's the point I don't hear anybody talking about. If Argosy University was shut down by this time, and it clearly was, what financial aid office could she call? After all, the college or university was shut down, didn't exist. So what financial aid office could she call? Didn't anybody think about that? She stated, and remember what I said before, quote, "There was no school. The school is shut down." Well, if the school is shut down, how can you call financial aid office at a non-existent school or a school that is no longer in operation? Can you answer that, Cheyenne Bryant? I don't think she can, right? And here's another point I would also raise. If she indeed went through a PhD program at Argosy University, how could they then, after getting a degree, supposedly getting this PhD, how could they then, taking her at her word, which no one should, but taking her at her word, how could she then talk to some financial aid office that would say that she could get a refund or have credit remaining? You already got the degree. What financial aid office would invalidate credits for classes already taken and a degree already received? I don't think that happens in academia. I don't think any college or university, whether it's a regular state college or university, regular private college or university, or even for-profit college or university, none of those schools would really do that. Not to mention what I had mentioned in the previous video, which is she said that there were only 2 years for which her records were held and then no longer held. I already noted that that wasn't the case. But what financial aid office is going to give you an either or? Well, we will revoke all the credits of classes or we'll give you a refund. That doesn't happen. I would say that Cheyenne Bryant went to the same school for lying that one Bob Lazar went to. If you don't know who Bob Lazar is, he's the star of a documentary about S4, Area 51. I call him Bob Liar because he lied about his academic credentials as well. I get the feeling that Cheyenne Bryant and Bob Lazar, don't want to get upset, went to the same school for liars. Just a little aside there. So let me get this straight. So let's look at this thus far. You have a supposed PhD, supposed doctor, who closest that we can see to having a doctorate is that it's a registered trademark, supposedly obtained in 2018. Then we have a person who stated on an interview on, I guess, a radio show that Argosy University, where she got her PhD in psychology, or claimed to get a PhD in psychology, she stated that there was no school and the school was shut down, but she still called a financial aid office, which told her that she could either get a refund or she would be struck off the rolls of all the courses she took. This is despite the fact that she claimed to actually have obtained a PhD from Argosy University. So how could they wipe out your records and remove you from the classes, remove your credits from the classes if you already got the degree? Because she was trying to get transcripts for a job with a law school. That's another odd thing. What law school is going to hire somebody with a PhD in counseling psychology to teach? What are you teaching at a law school? This is what she said, that she was trying to get these transcripts because she wanted to go to a law school. She wanted a job at a law school teaching. What law school is going to have a psychologist as a faculty member? Now, I don't know. I'm not an expert on law schools. I don't pretend to be an expert, but I'm just, again, did anybody catch that? Because I did. That seems strange to me. But everything about this lady is strange. So, and let me just bring out a couple more points. In one interview, she claimed to have 4 degrees. Then in another interview, I guess months later, she had 6 degrees. So did Cheyenne Bryant, who I compared to Dr. Umar Johnson, who I had written about, I called him a con artist engaged in a long con. In the case of Cheyenne Bryant, she seems to be a con artist engaged in the short con. But in any event, did she maybe think about getting even with Umar Johnson? She wanted to kind of be on the same level. Maybe she heard him say he had 6 degrees, so she decided to get a upgrade. Of course, not a real upgrade, but, upgrade. She decided to upgrade her imaginary degrees. Maybe. We'll see. But this is what she said. And so here's the final thing I'll note. Now, as you know, I graduated from this school, right? Now, I used to cover film festivals as a journalist and as a freelance writer. I remember meeting somebody. He was a volunteer at this film festival that I was covering. And we were friendly, we're talking. I think he was in the press suite working there. And he actually worked for Argosy University. And they were starting something. It was lunch workshops. And so he sent me some emails after I met him at this film festival. He sent me emails inviting me to these workshops. And I went to a few of them. So let me state this on the record. I have been to a campus of Argosy University. It was one in my hometown. Here's what I can tell you about Argosy University. I can't tell you anything about the programs because I don't recall anything about the degree programs. They did mention it to us because I think they were trying to get more people to sign up as students or become students. I can't tell you what the qualifications were in regards to psychology because I didn't know anything about that. They probably mentioned it, but I don't recall it. Here's what I do recall. Argosy University, Argosy University was in an office building. It's a nice office building downtown, but it was an office building. The library was about as big as the apartment I live in. So they had a small library and they had like a conference room. And I guess they had classrooms. They had like maybe, I don't know, a few classrooms. But it was like one or two floors. So it was an office building. It wasn't a campus per se. It wasn't a physical plant type of campus, but it was in an office building, right? Because it was one of those private universities, private colleges. I guess it was a for-profit. I'm not quite sure. But I just wanted to note that I've actually been to an Argosy University. And because I got invited to some workshops. I went to a few lunch workshops. Workshops, I guess, were good. The only thing that I recall was the lunch. Sorry. But I'm not really surprised that Argosy eventually folded and eventually closed. I'll just say that. So if she went to Argosy University, as she claims, I'm not impressed. I'm just not. And neither should you. And so that's the end of this video. Hopefully it'll be the complete end. And I think I want to say one more thing about this. And of course she didn't react. This Cheyenne Bryant didn't react. But I just want to say this in conclusion to her. And she won't see this, of course, but I'm going to say this anyway. It's very clear that you're living a fantasy life. You have illusions of grandeur, and you are almost delusional in your self-confidence and your egotism and your grandiosity. And so what you really need to do is admit the truth, cut the BS, and really probably step away from the psychology space, because you're not a psychologist. You don't have a PhD. You're not a therapist. You're a phony. And you need help. And on that note, bye-bye.